day. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. Okay. So, the 1969 NBA Finals. Okay. It was a final matchup of the decade for the Celtics and the Lakers. Okay. And the Celtics were coming off a season where they were not particularly good that year. I believe their record was 48-34 that year. Yeah. The Celtics went 48-34 that year, and the Lakers went 55-20, 87. Okay, and so they met for the last time in the 1960s. Okay, and the Lakers won Game 1. West came out on fire. West had 53 points and 10 assists in Game 1. Okay, so that helps Jerry West. Came out guns a-blazing. 53 points, 10 assists. And then he had 41 in the next game, which the Lakers won. And then John Havlicek had 43 in Game 2. Okay, so LA won the first two. Boston came back and won Game 3. Sam Jones hit one of the luckiest shots to win Game 4. Okay. Lakers win Game 5. Celtics win Game 6. But something developed, I believe, during Game 5. Might have been during Game 5 or Game 6 where Jerry West injured his hamstring. Okay. And he played in Game 6, but he scored 26 points. Still scored 26 points on a bum hamstring. But see, the big difference in that game was Chamberlain, who only scored 2 points that game. Right? Yeah, the man who once scored 100 points only had 2 points that game. So they come back to LA for Game 7. And Jack Kent Cooke. Oh, Jack Kent Cooke. Jack Kent Cooke was Jack Kent Cooke was so sure that the Lakers would win Game 7 that he put balloons up in the rafters, up under the scoreboard. Okay, he put balloons up in the rafters under the scoreboard. Okay, not only did Jack Kent Cooke do that, he also put out a program sheet of what would happen when the Lakers will win the championship. Okay, and apparently either Sam Jones or Bill Russell got their hands on one of these programs, post-game programs. When the Lakers win the championship, the USC band will play Happy Days Are Here Again. The balloons in the rafters will fall down. A Chick Hearns would interview Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West in that particular order. And Big Hill Russell read it to the whole team before the game. And Russell was like, Lakers, they can't beat us. They can't beat us. And so Boston came out guns a-blazing. Okay. And Boston actually led 91-76 at the end of the third quarter. And that's when the Lakers made their run. Okay. That's when the Lakers made their run. Jerry West began hitting. And they came charging back. And the score was 103 to 102 at one point. And that's when Chamberlain came down and injured his knee. And you remember in that documentary, best of enemies, Lakers and Celtics, where the Lakers side was narrated by Ice Cube and the Celtics side was narrated by Donnie Wahlberg. Okay, I believe, yeah. And so I remember Ice Cube saying, so probably the greatest scorer, one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game, gets benched in the final minutes by Butch Van Breda Kolff. Thanks a lot, Butch. Okay, so he came out of the game for a few minutes. Chamberlain did, but he was ready to go back in. Butch Van Breda Kolff wanted to put him back in. Jack Kent Cooke came down and told Butch Van Breda Kolff to put Chamberlain back in. Butch Van Breda Kolff was like, "Get out of here." Lakers end up losing 108-106. And yeah. So people would say Chamberlain's injury was the difference. Okay, but there are some people who say that Jerry West's hamstring injury that he got in Game 5, that was the difference right there. That Jerry West really wasn't his normal self. Okay, so there are a few LA reporters who feel that Jerry West's hamstring injury was the difference in that game. And one of the best sports writers, Doug Kekorian, he believes that Jerry West's hamstring injury was the difference during the late part of that series. Okay, and he recalls that Wilt Chamberlain was doing absolutely nothing. He recalls Wilt Chamberlain was doing absolutely nothing. He said Russell was scurrying around the court, moving around, and Chamberlain was doing absolutely nothing. And so you remember, if y'all remember what happened after the game, Bill Russell called him a faker. He basically called Wilt Chamberlain a faker. And Chamberlain wanted to go back into the game, okay? Wilt Chamberlain wanted to go back into the game. He wanted to go back in. And again, he wanted to go back into the game. But Butch Van Breda Kolff was like, no. And Jack Kent Cooke came down and said, put him back into the game. Butch Van Breda Kolff was like, man, get out of here. So that leaves a couple of questions. Okay. Who's more responsible for the Lakers Game 7 loss? Butch Van Breda Kolff, Wilt Chamberlain, or Jerry West's hamstring injury? Or maybe it's the fact that Jack Kent Cooke put those balloons up in the rafters and put all those post-game program sheets that the Celtics got their hands on. Okay. So maybe that has something to do with that. And Jerry West recalls that. Rest in peace, Jerry West. Jerry West recalls that. Jerry West is like, how could anybody be so stupid as to put those balloons up there? Jerry West was pissed. Jerry West was one pissed man when he saw those balloons in the rafters, okay? And of course, Don Nelson hits the game-winning shot. That was a difference, but I think it was the fact that Chamberlain and Van Breda Kolff were basically at each other's throats the whole year. Okay. Yeah. Well, Chamberlain and Butch Van Breda Kolff, they did not get along. They did not get along. And they were at each other's throats all year. And I think the fact that their season ended like that, I think that's a fitting way to all the infighting that was taking place between Chamberlain and Van Breda Kolff that year. Okay. Don't talk to old head Laker fans about Butch Van Breda Kolff. They don't want to hear about him. They don't want to hear about no Butch Van Breda Kolff. He will be forever known as the man who benched Wilt Chamberlain in Game 7 of the 1969 NBA Finals. That's going to be his lasting legacy, okay? That's his lasting legacy right there. Benching Wilt Chamberlain in the 7th game of the 1969 NBA Finals. He's going to be remembered for that. Okay. So, yeah. All right. That's it. And that's all. For Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. Be blessed, y'all. Peace out.
Malone is doubled. They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
He gets Brian Russell with a quick crossover. Look at Brian Russell slips, and Michael pulls up and buries the shot to give him a 1-point lead.
That may have been. Who knows what will unfold in the next NBA.
Watch Jordan's left hand here as he gives Russell the push. The referee can't see that. Jordan frees himself up for a clean look. The greatest thing about Jordan is he has all